Yo, what's good? It's your boy Wick to the Split, and I'm not here on a prediction video or nothing like that. I'm here to talk about monsters. Um, are they real? Are they not real? Monsters. There's millions and millions of people around the world who claim to see monsters. Bigfoot, Loch Ness Monster, the Abominable Snowman, Jersey Devil, the Ohio Grassman, even Goatman, and believe in Tennessee. Some people even claim to even see werewolves. Um, and another thing people claim to see is, sea monsters. Um, People claim to see these things, but are they being honest or are they not being honest? We don't know. But they say seeing is believing. But who knows if these things are real? All I know is that uh, there's millions of people who claim to see these things, um, and I could tell you that I've seen maybe a couple of crazy things myself, a couple of things out of the ordinary myself. Oh, and even like uh, Mothman, even like Mothman. Forgot about the Mothman. People claimed. I forgot what city Mothman is from, but he blew up one of the bridges or something like that. I don't know. I forgot which city it was, to be totally honest. Um, but these animals that these people claim to see, like Bigfoot, Loch Ness monster, and Jersey Devil, and those kinds of you know creatures, I don't wouldn't call those things monsters. I guess because um, they're undiscovered in people. I call them undiscovered animals. That's what I call them. I don't call them monsters. Um, because I know that those kinds of animals are real. I mean, Bigfoot, Loch Ness monster. Um, I don't know about the Jersey Devil. I don't know if that's real. That kind of sounds like a horror story that people would just use just to scare people, kind of like the Blair Witch. I don't know if the Jersey Devil is real. I mean, I can't honestly fully say that that is real. But I could tell you that having experiences with Bigfoot and seeing stuff in the woods myself, that kind of stuff is real. I mean, how hard is it to believe an animal walks on two legs? And an animal, a sea creature like Loch Ness monster, swimming around in a lake. You know what I mean? It's not hard to believe that an animal escaped extinction. You know what I mean? For an example, look at it. All of the dinosaurs died from being hit by a meteor, and rocks fell on all the dinosaurs, and that's why you find dinosaurs under rocks. But the Loch Ness monster, in other words, a plesiosaur, how could it have been smashed by any rocks? It's underneath the water. So I can understand why a plesiosaur, aka Loch Ness monster, could have escaped extinction because the water saved it from being hit by any boulders or smashed by rocks or stuff like that. So that's a believable animal that could seriously be still on this planet. Um, Now, something that is another thing that's unbelievable maybe is a werewolf. I could see people mistaking a Bigfoot as a werewolf, but werewolves. They've took too many things too far with werewolves. I mean, as far as going to Hollywood, you know what I mean, and making a bunch of Wolfman movies like with Benicio del Toro and what's the other guy's name, Lon Chaney or whatever his name is. They've went too far with making werewolves to Hollywood. So no, that's Any chance of anyone believing a werewolf is out the door, because a werewolf is too Hollywood. You know what I mean? It's way too Hollywood. You know what I mean? So that's a werewolf is not believable. You know what I mean? Because you see it in scary movies and all that shit, and most people know that werewolves are just fictional, but they could be real. I'm not saying they're not real. I'm just saying most people won't believe in werewolves because they've already done too many Hollywood movies on that shit, and I mean, people know that that's just something out of a horror movie. So no one would ever believe that there's a werewolf um, on the planet. But you never know. There's crazy shit out there that we don't know about. Um, People discover new animals all the time. They discover new animals that we never knew existed on this planet. Sometimes they even find animals that we thought were gone from existence. Like there was a let me see, there was a fish, I believe, by the name of a coelacanth or something like that. It was believed to be extinct for 80 million years or something, and then they pulled it out of the water. So, you know what I mean? See, it's just shit like that, how people think that, oh, this animal's gone or this animal's extinct, and then next thing you know, they find it, and then they pull it out of the water, or they find it on land and it's dead. You know what I mean? And that's another thing that people complain about. Say, oh, if Bigfoot's real, why don't they ever find a dead body of a Bigfoot out there? Well, let me ask you this. How often do they ever run into the dead body of a bear? How often is it that you take a walk in the woods and you find the dead body of a bear? Never. At least I'd never seen one out there. How often is it do you walk in the woods and you see the dead body of even a deer? I never. I mean, I'm pretty sure you can run into one of those, but come on, man. It's not often you run into a dead bear or a dead deer in the woods. So what are your chances you're gonna run into a dead Bigfoot? Come on, man. You gotta think outside the box with this kind of shit, man. Like, trust me, it's not often you're gonna run into something like that, like a dead Bigfoot or something like that. You're not gonna run into something like that. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I mean? You just gotta keep an open mind about these kinds of things. But, but I have to be honest though. I'm not saying that this stuff isn't real. It's just I have to be honest. Some people, when they see crazy shit or when they see monsters or something like that, some people can seriously get carried away with their imagination. They can get carried away with it, and they could make themselves see something that's not there, but in their imagination it's making them see that it's there. You know what I mean? Like, some people, their imaginations can seriously take them over. You know what I mean? So some people get a little carried away with their thoughts and their imagination. But I'm not saying none of this stuff isn't real, because I don't prefer them as monsters. I just prefer to call them just undiscovered animals. You know what I mean? Like, just Bigfoot, Loch Ness Monster, you know, Abominable Snowman. I just prefer them as just, you know, just undiscovered animals. Because like I said, there's animals that we find all the time that, like I said, it's just that we thought were gone, and then, you know, you find them and you're like, oh shit, they're still here. You know what I mean? It happens a lot of the time. Happens all the time. They find new animals that they thought were gone and extinct. So eventually, one day, Bigfoot will pop up. Eventually, one day, Loch Ness Monster will pop up. You know what I mean? Werewolves, dinosaurs, who knows? They could be there. I'm not saying they're not there. But like I said, what you got to do is you have to keep an open mind about these kinds of things. So, you guys, if you can, leave a comment, subscribe, share the video, do whatever. Thank y'all, and tell me what you guys think about monsters. Thank y'all. I love y'all.